Hello everyone and welcome back. My name's dustinkreis and today we're going to do a game discussion and we're going to talk about this game right here, The Wonderful 101, brought to us by Platinum Games, published by Nintendo for the Wii U of course, and this is one of the most wonderfully frustrating games out there. It reminds me a lot of playing an old school NES game because it kind of just drops you in this world. And the game is kind of a action puzzle game in a way, and it just expects you to kind of figure it out. It gives you a little bit of hints and tells you what to do, but this game does not hold your hand at all. And when people talk about hardcore games out there, everyone kind of thinks of like your Skyrims and your Call of Duties and these big AAA games. But I would throw the gauntlet down and say that this is one of the most hardcore games out there. I'm playing on the easy mode, and even then, sometimes I'm still having a hard time. It really throws sort of situations at you that you only have a little bit of time to react, or it's game over. Not really game over. You get unlimited continues in this, but it affects your score and affects the trophies you get and things like that. So you're really kind of pushing to get platinums, and but yeah, man, this is it's very challenging and very frustrating at times, but I could not put it down. There are times I really wanted to just take my gamepad and just snap it in half because this game is just that frustrating at times. But I kept coming back to it. I put it down for a little while, come back to it, and just have another blast with it. And I would say that if you have a Wii U and you don't have this in your collection, you are seriously missing out on one of the most unique games this generation. There is nothing else out there like this, and if you have a Wii U, you definitely owe it to yourself to pick this up. Is it worth buying a Wii U for? Not really. There's still, for me, I like my purchase of the Wii U, but I understand why other people are still kind of holding back and waiting on the Wii U. I don't think it's got that killer app yet, but Mario 3D World is right around the corner, and for a lot of people, that's kind of a killer app. So, anyway, in this game, you play as Wonder Red and the different colors of the Wonderful 100 team. And you're fighting off an evil alien invasion by sort of collecting civilians around the town and turning them into part of the Wonderful team and using them to unite into these huge fists or swords or guns or whatever character you're actually playing as. Ridiculous storyline. Absolutely ridiculous, but ridiculous in a good way. I don't think I've ever laughed at a game as much as I've laughed at this game. Excellent, excellent writing. Really just, there are some missteps, like having Wonder Pink, who's the girl, be kind of all boy crazy over one of the enemies in the game. That kind of got a little bit thin. Of course, having the dark-skinned kid be be Wonder Black in this, and of course, when he is first introduced, he has to do a break dance. Things like that. It's kind of like, okay, we get it. We get it. He's the dark-skinned kid. We got it. Good job, game. But other than that, Duncan is going. Will you stop? You're being really rude right now. He's giving me a look like, I'm so sorry. But anyway, I forgot where I was at. This is going to have to be the video because I'm scolding the child here. But anyway, yeah, the writing is super funny. The characters are really enjoyable. Even the enemy characters are just, it's so over-the-top ridiculous. And if you're a fan of Power Rangers, like I was as a kid and still kind of am, you're going to eat this shit up because it pokes fun at so many things. Of course, the Wonder Team looks an awful lot like the Power Rangers. You have giant mecha that you have to fight, so it's a lot like, the Megazord battles and that. There's so many weird things in this, too, like there's shmup stages. There was a Punch-Out stage where you had to play Punch-Out between these two robots. This game, literally it keeps you on your toes. You don't know what's coming next. And that is a good and a bad thing. One of the main things is how you select your powers in this game. You start off as Wonder Red, and then you can switch between the characters by drawing out symbols to represent their weapons, i.e. Wonder Blue has a sword, so you draw a straight line. Wonder Pink has a whip, so you draw like a whip shape, a sine wave. Wonder White has claws, so you draw a slash, like he's cutting something to pull out his claws. This works well for most of the drawings. A lot of the simple shapes works excellent for. The problem is with Wonder Pink, because hers is just a sine wave. It's really easy for the controller, for some reason, to confuse that, i.e. when I'm using Wonder Yellow, and you have to draw basically a circle with a stick underneath of it for a hammer. A lot of times, if you don't draw that circle up top perfectly, it'll confuse it for the whip for some reason. Even though it's clearly a circle with a line, it'll confuse it. And the worst one is Wonder Black with his bomb. You have to draw like a circle and then like a line out, so it looks like a bomb with a fuse on it. And it always confuses it for Wonder Pink because you don't get a lot of time to draw these symbols. You're in the midst of frantic combat, and I mean, the game throws a ton of enemies at you. And you're quickly trying to draw these things on there to get, like, for instance, say you're fighting one of the giant bosses, and you weaken it down to the point where it's shown its weak spot, and you need to jump up on it and use Wonder Yellow to use his hammer to strike the spot. So you jump up on the back of this beast and you're quickly drawing the hammer because you only have a certain amount of time before the thing gets back up and the weak point closes. And you're frantically drawing this hammer and all you keep getting is the whip. And it honestly, it gets very frustrating because these battles are so frantic. It's a very chaotic game, I'm not going to lie to you. And a lot of the times, it does not tell you what you need to do. It really makes you kind of figure it out on your own. There was one thing where I got to the end of this stage and nothing was happening. And I couldn't figure out what I was supposed to do. So I had to pull up a YouTube walkthrough and watch what it was. And I was literally missing something completely stupid almost at the very beginning of the stage and had to backtrack all the way. So there is frustrations with it in its gameplay. Other than that, it's kind of a weird isometric beat 'em up. There's certain times where your powers just won't work right. There's a lot of platforming in this game and a lot of really wide chasms that you have to, get across. One of the ways you do it is you draw a very long straight line, so all of your Wonder Team form a straight line in front of you, and then they will turn into a bridge so you can go across. Getting that to work in a lot of the chase segments where you have to do it very quickly is difficult because you can also use your right stick to make these shapes. So it's really easy to make like Wonder Blue's sword or make the bridge with the control stick. But if you don't have it going the right direction for that isometric perspective, it won't work and you'll die and you have to restart that spot. So I feel like this game, it's a very good game. It earns, I think it got like 7s and 8s and around that mark. It earns that without a doubt. I think if they would have spent a little more time refining the controls and sort of the gamepad screen input, I think it would be a lot. I mean, this would be almost a perfect game. The hand-holding aspect to it, I don't really think it needs it. It kind of evokes that old-school mentality of, hey, figure this out yourself. It's kind of crazy if you think back to when you were a kid playing like old NES games and how you figured that shit out on your own. And it's like now we play these games and if it doesn't tell us what we're exactly supposed to do, we're like, oh, this is stupid, I'm done. And I would get pissed because I was like, why isn't this game telling me what I need to do? And it's like, you have to kind of get an old school mentality to, do some trial and error. And, you might not get that platinum medal or the platinum statue on the first try, but you can go back to the stage after you know what you're supposed to do and try again. It's kind of got a very arcadey feel to it, and that is really quite awesome. As far as the audio goes, the music is hilarious at times. It has this kind of theme song with this over-the-top chorus singing about the wonderful 100 and how awesome they are and stuff like that. and it really adds a lot to that that sort of Power Ranger aspect to it. I don't know, it just made me smile through and through. The voice acting is hilarious, especially the enemies. I mean, there's a clear personality difference between all of the characters, and that's one thing I have to say about this game. It just has character out the butt, you know. There's just so much charm to this game. And don't let this cover fool you. This is one of the most hardcore games out there to play. And finally, the graphics. The graphics are a bit of a mixed bag. You know, sometimes things are so zoomed out, the character models. I mean, there's a lot going on and a lot of things on the screen at one time. So graphically, there is some impressiveness to it, but it's not going to win any awards for best graphics or anything like that. The characters look kind of plasticky, but that kind of goes along with the aesthetic of them kind of looking like action figures and things like that. Really reminds me a lot of Beautiful Joe in a lot of ways. But there are some impressive things about the graphics, but it's more of a technical thing, like the number of characters on the screen or the amount of explosions going on versus, oh my god, look at how drop dead gorgeous this game is. But, you know, for me, not being a huge graphics whore, I find this to be just really nice. I really enjoy sort of the innocence to this game, but, I mean, it does have some adult themes to it. It definitely earns that T rating. But, yeah, that is it for this video. Man, this is... it just drives me nuts because this is on the Wii U, and not very many people has picked up a Wii U, and I feel like people are really missing out by not playing this game. It has some rough around the edges aspects to it, but the uniqueness of this title is just so much that it kind of overcomes those rough edges. And man, if you have a Wii U, just go pick this up and play it. And if you don't like it, you can beat me up as much as you want, but at least you experience something different. Aside from, hey, guess what? Call of Duty Ghosts just came out. Ooh, who cares? But, you know, stuff like this just kind of gets shuffled, you know, away. And that's kind of sad because we all bitch and complain about how much we want unique experiences in our video games. And here you go. And I feel like no one's going to pick this game up except for those select few who actually did. And it's... I really want a sequel. I want a sequel where they refine the controls, and man, that would be amazing. So anyway, guys, that was my thoughts on the wonderful 101. Really enjoyed this game, and I think if you have a Wii U, definitely pick it up for your Wii U. So anyway, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you next time. Hey, as I was editing, I realized I forgot to mention that we have a new episode of the podcast up with our very special guest, RPG Swagman, where we spend 3 hours basically talking about nothing but RPGs. So if you guys are in for a 3-hour RPG conversation, the link's down below, so definitely check that out.